What's up, everybody? It's Corey here with Good Evening Tech, and today we are going to look at the basic authentication system that Laravel has. So, if you're deciding on what framework to use, I would definitely recommend looking into Laravel. It's a great PHP framework, and more or less, Laravel does offer a starter project that does all of this for you. The only downside is a lot of it's taken out of your hands and a lot of it becomes opinionated at how it wants to do everything. So it uses Blade. So if you're not using Laravel's templating system, it's going to use that, and it also uses Tailwind. So if you're trying to use your own CSS or you're trying to use Bootstrap or another kind of CSS framework, you'll have to tear all that stuff out. But if you're looking for a little bit of just a different way to approach this from the ground up instead of from the top down, this is a great place to start. All right. So what it is I just have everything stacked on one form, well, one page, and it just goes over logging in, logging out, and creating an account. So as you can see here, my account's logged in. I can log out. It'll say welcome guest, and we'll go down here, put my information in, and it'll put us back into an authenticated state. So that's more or less what we're going to work with here today, and basically what I'm going to go over is all of the logic that's used. All right, so gonna get out of that right there. Gonna go over here, and basically what we're going to talk about is how to use Artisan, which is Laravel's, it's like its brain, essentially. It's how you host your server, it's how you can create things, and what we're going to do right now is use it to create a controller. So we'll do PHP Artisan make controller. I want to put this in a folder, so auth controller, hit enter. And we should go up here, HTTP, controllers, auth controller. So what we're going to put inside this class is every single route that we want. I'm going to stack all of creating, logging in, and logging out into this one item. I think they're all mutually exclusive at what they do. So what we're going to do is just go down the list of the first thing is creating this item. So public function, I'm going to call it create. It uses this object called request. All the items will get a request object back if they are used in the form of routing. Now what we're going to do is request is an object. We're going to use a special method in it called validate. Validate ensures that what we're getting from the front end is what we expect on the back end. So the first thing we're going to get is name, and this is going to be required. We're going to get email. Now what I'm doing here with this associative array is everything on the left-hand side is what the name of what we should expect. Everything on the right, Laravel has an entire index of information that you can assign, and they all kind of speak for themselves, but the documentation tells you what each one actually does. But email, make sure it's an email. What we're going to do is unique, app, models, user, comma, email. It'll check to make sure that this email is not taken by any other user model. And then we'll go down here, do password, required, and then we will add confirmed. So what confirmed does is it will ensure that there is a second form that has the same name as, like, it'll be password plus confirmation with an underscore. When I go over to the HTML, I'll show you exactly what it's talking about, but it ensures that you can use this for anything. You could even use it for the email, but it makes sure that those two match. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a nice little function to have. And what we're going to do down here, we're going to do password equals, and I'm going to call a library called hash, make request password. If you don't do this, it won't hash the password. And if you don't know what hashing is, it's like a one-way encryption. So you'll never know what the what's it called? You'll never know what it means ever again. It's going to hash it one direction and it'll never come back. So instead of being like encryption where you can encrypt it then decrypt it, hashing just goes one single way with it. we'll do is go down here. We're also going to need our app use app models user, capitalized. We'll go down here and we will call user create name equals the request name, email equals the request email, and then password equals password. Now, if you're curious what this is, so our user model, ooh, why is that yelling at me? Oh, there we go. Forgot my little alligator. This is part of just one of the things Laravel offers. It's in their Eloquent ORM. This will handle all the SQL for us to create all of that. So it's nice. It takes out a lot of work that we do not need to do. And all we'll do is return a redirect to the index page. That's it for the create. Now we're going to move down. We're going to go into the login. We're going to do public function login. Grab that request item again. And we're going to do credentials equals request validate. What we're going to grab is the email and then the required email. I'm going to add it up there too. There we go. It's so easy just to add those validators to it instead of having to write out a bunch of code for it. Password equals required. Needs to be in single quotes or double quotes. Now what we're going to do here is do auth attempts, and I'm pretty sure I don't have auth in here, so use illuminate, not that auth. That one's just there to trick you. Facades auth. Go down here. So if auth attempt, so attempt will attempt to log them in. If this method returns true, it will log them in and it will execute this code. If not, we're going to have something that handles it. We're going to put credentials, and then we're going to do comma request / remember me. So the remember me is going to be a checkbox that I have on the front end of the code that will set the cookie to remember them for a longer period of time or create the shorter session of a cookie. Now we're going to go down here, request session, regenerate. So whenever anybody goes to a Laravel website, it's going to create a session cookie for them. After this auth happens, we want to regenerate a cookie that's associated with their account. We'll do a return redirect back to index. Otherwise, we're going to return back with errors. So what this will do, I want to put it on the email, is create a custom error. Let me type this out real quick, then I will talk about it. Our records. Go down here. So these validations up here, if something on them is not met, so let's say they submitted the form without the password, it would send back a custom message that is built into Laravel that says, hey, the password is required. Down here, if the auth fails, I think it's a good practice just to say, hey, the provided credentials were not valid, instead of saying like, oh, the password's wrong, because people that want to do bad things will now know that that email is associated with an account. So this is just a way to customize that message, but it happens after that initial validation. It's like a secondary validation. What we're going to do, let's go down here, make our final step as the logout, and we're going to do auth logout. That'll terminate that session. And then for our session cookie, just as a failsafe, is we are going to destroy, more or less destroy everything. It doesn't destroy their account or anything crazy like that, but the default way that Laravel works is it uses session-based cookies to keep track of how somebody logs in. This will destroy their session. It'll stop it with that, but this is just more insurance to make sure that they're not able to get their cookie stolen or something like that that would give somebody else access to their account. Even though that's pretty hard to do with Laravel, but it's just more insurance. This is how the docs have it for you to run the logout method. But let's go over here, go to our web route, which handles all of the regular HTTP requests, and we're just going to glue a couple into here so we understand what's going on. So I'm going to do route post, account create. You can name this whatever you want, just make sure it makes sense. Before we do that, I need to grab our items, controllers, auth controller, perfect. Auth controller, class, and then we will do create, and I'm going to give it a name so we can call it in our blade profile. I'm going to call it create underscore account. You'll see what I'm talking about there. Alright, auth controller. So what this is doing is it's just telling, hey, if you get a post request to this route, this is what I want you to use to handle it. There we go. Route post logout. Then we'll do auth controller class comma logout. Over here to name logout. Hit save there, and then the final thing we're gonna do is go over to our resources, views, our welcome. Like I said, I changed mine out, so it's a custom for this. I added Bootstrap here. This is just something I wanted to do to make sure it's a little bit easier to see. So we're gonna go over everything here. So Blade is Laravel's templating system. If you've never used it before, it's actually super nice. It just uses the @ sign to enter its special syntax and double curly brackets. But it has special keywords like guest, so this means that no one is logged in, and this is what it'll display. Auth means somebody's logged in. There's other methods you can chain with this to make it specific to like an account type or something like that. But what we're going to do here is enter the other form of Blade syntax, the double curly brackets. We're going to do route and what we named logout. Logout. This CSRF is a special token that Laravel uses. If you don't include it in your form or you forget to, you'll get a error code of 419. So if you're ever using Laravel and you submit a form and it gives you 419, it's probably because you forgot this CSRF token. So it's usually an easy fix. I've been using Laravel for a while, but that always trips me up. We're going to go down here, add our other route name, and this one is the create an account. We're going to go route, and what did we name it? Create account. Perfect. As you can see, those errors I was talking about, this is the error syntax. So you do the error, the name of the form that's on the back end. More or less, it's just easy to name what's on the back end to the front end. It just makes stuff a lot easier to understand. But it will just have this message here for us to use, and you just add it to every single one. Here you can see the password confirmation. So I named this field password, and on the back end it's named password. But over here, password underscore confirmation, it creates that field for us to help do that additional validation. But let's see, everything looks good there. Submit button, and then we'll have our login down here. Add it right there, go log in. Same error messages. I didn't put one for the password, even if an error did come up. You can add it if you want, I just didn't see a need to. And that's pretty much it for that. What we'll do now is PHP artisan serve. It'll open up a server. Let me get a Safari window. And then if it'll come on over here. Copy that. It's taking forever. There we go. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is create an account. So I'll say Corey, my email address, and then we'll do the most secure password out there, password, hit submit, and we should be able to go down here, type it out with my super safe password, and as you can see up here, it's created a session that we're logged in. Hit log out, boom, it works. I hope this video was helpful to you, and if you like the content, please hit that like button, subscribe for more, and I hope you have a good evening.